The room was silent, except for a single harsh gasp as Detective Ethan Cross burst through the doorway. Blood smeared across the floor, glistened under flickering fluorescent lights. Laura Bennett trembled in the corner, her hands covering her mouth. I didn't see anything," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Ethan's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed danger. He noticed a shattered photo frame, the victim's face staring up in horror. The air smelled metallic, thick with dread. Outside, the storm lashed against the windows, lightning illuminating the scene. Shadows twisted in the corners, hiding secrets. "Call for backup," Ethan barked. Silence answered him, broken only by the dripping of water from the ceiling. Every second stretched. Something moved in the shadows, unseen but threatening. Detective Marcus Hale arrived at the scene, his eyes scanning every corner for overlooked evidence. Laura shook violently, clutching the tattered blanket around her shoulders. "Please, tell me she's alive," she pleaded. Marcus shook his head subtly, keeping a firm voice. "We will find every clue. Stay calm." Ethan crouched beside the victim's body, noting details. The angle of the fall, blood splatter patterns, and signs of a struggle. Time felt distorted as thunder rattled the windows. Outside, sirens approached, a grim reminder of the chaos unfolding. Every second deepened the weight of dread pressing down on them. Ethan studied the victim's surroundings, pieces of her life scattered. "She fought," he murmured to Marcus, eyes scanning for any clue that could reveal the killer. Laura sobbed quietly, gripping a photograph of her daughter. Marcus gently rested a hand on her shoulder. "We'll get justice," he assured. Outside, rain pounded against the windows, echoing the tension inside. Every sound, every shadow felt amplified. The apartment seemed to close in, the storm mirroring the chaos of their emotions. Ethan's mind raced through suspects and possibilities. The case was more complex than he imagined, yet determination burned in his chest. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, startling Laura. A uniformed officer entered, notebook in hand. "We secured the perimeter," he reported, voice steady. Ethan nodded without looking up, piecing together the puzzle in his mind. "Anything unusual outside?" Marcus asked. The officer shook his head, tension heavy in his eyes. Lightning flashed, illuminating the scene briefly, revealing every detail. The overturned chair, broken glass, and the victim's lifeless face. Silence returned, punctuated only by the storm. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. The apartment held secrets waiting to be uncovered. Ethan finally stood, voice low and firm. "We document everything, no assumptions." Laura's tears fell freely, but a glimmer of resolve appeared in her eyes. Marcus nodded, noting every detail on his path. Outside, the storm intensified, windows rattling. Thunder rolled across the cityscape, a reminder of the chaos surrounding them. Every object, every shadow could hold a clue. Ethan's gaze swept the room again, every instinct alert. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him. In this room, justice was not a guarantee. It was a pursuit. Ethan and Marcus returned to the precinct, the weight of the scene still heavy on their shoulders. Laura clutched a warm coffee, trying to steady her trembling hands. "I keep seeing her face," she admitted, voice breaking. Ethan rested a hand on her shoulder. "We will uncover the truth, I promise." Marcus sat across from them, his eyes scanning the evidence folder, noting inconsistencies. Outside, the city hummed with life, oblivious to the tragedy that had struck. Ethan leaned back, closing his eyes for a moment, imagining the trail they needed to follow. Every clue mattered, every overlooked detail could break the case. Laura's fear mingled with hope, a fragile resolve forming. Marcus adjusted his tie, ready to face whatever came next, his loyalty unwavering. Ethan examined the crime photos again, tracing patterns with his finger. Marcus pored over witness statements, noting discrepancies. Laura paced the room, each step echoing her anxiety. "I need answers," she said sharply, glancing at Ethan. He met her gaze steadily. "We will find them, but we have to be careful. One wrong move could ruin the trail." The hum of fluorescent lights filled the silence. Marcus leaned back, rubbing his temples, absorbing the weight of the investigation. Outside, rain began lightly tapping on the windows. Each second felt heavy, pressing the three of them toward decisions they weren't fully ready to make. Tension thickened, yet determination remained unbroken. Marcus grabbed his jacket. "We should visit the scene again, make sure nothing was missed." Ethan nodded, tension evident in his jaw. Laura clutched her bag tightly, her knuckles white. "I can't stay home anymore. I need to see where it happened," she said, voice trembling. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on hers. "We'll go together. You're not alone." Outside, the city lights reflected off the wet streets, storm clouds lingering overhead. Their car ride was quiet, filled with thought and anticipation. Ethan's mind raced through suspects, motives, and the small inconsistencies that could be vital. Laura's fear slowly mingled with a burning need for answers, an emotional anchor for them all. Arriving at the apartment, Ethan stepped carefully through the lobby. Marcus followed, scanning for anything unusual. Laura hesitated at the threshold, taking a deep breath. "It feels like yesterday," she whispered, eyes fixed on the door. Ethan opened it slowly, revealing the now empty apartment, shadows stretching across walls. Every overturned object, every mark told a story. Marcus crouched, inspecting a stain on the floor, notes in hand. Laura touched the wall where her daughter had leaned, memories flooding back. The storm outside rumbled softly, blending with the ache of their emotions. Ethan's resolve hardened. Justice would not wait. They moved through the apartment methodically. Ethan noted broken glass and signs of struggle. Marcus snapped photographs, every angle accounted for. Laura touched the victim's favorite chair, tears welling in her eyes. "I just want her back," she whispered. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder, steadying her. "We will find out what happened," he assured, voice low but firm. Outside, the storm intensified, rain hammering against windows, thunder echoing through empty streets. Every object, every shadow could hold answers. Each moment pressed them closer to the truth, the emotional weight of the case unrelenting. Their bond strengthened, a fragile unity against the darkness surrounding them. Ethan and Marcus returned to the precinct, evidence in hand, a sense of unease growing. "Something doesn't add up," Ethan muttered, scanning witness statements. Marcus leaned over, pointing at a discrepancy. Laura sat nearby, gripping a folder of photos, her expression a mixture of fear and resolve. "Could it be someone she knew?" she whispered. Ethan shook his head, tension in his jaw. Every clue pulled them deeper, shadows of deception spreading. Outside, rain pelted the windows, echoing the turmoil inside. Time stretched, every sound amplified. Their minds raced, piecing together fragments. The room felt heavier with each passing moment. Trust was fragile. Suspicion lurked around every corner. They visited the apartment again, careful not to miss anything. Ethan's eyes traced every scratch, every mark. Marcus photographed a small, barely noticeable smear. Laura knelt, brushing a chair lightly, as if hoping for a memory to speak. "I feel like she's trying to tell us something," she said. Ethan's hand rested on her shoulder, firm but gentle. Outside, thunder rolled over the city, lights flickering. Each detail seemed vital, yet frustratingly incomplete. Marcus muttered theories under his breath, and Ethan considered suspects, motives, and hidden connections. Fear and determination mingled, pushing them forward. Every step was a balance between hope and despair. Back at the precinct, the files revealed more questions than answers. Ethan traced timelines, muttering, This timeline doesn't match any witness account. Marcus scanned surveillance footage, pausing on an unfamiliar figure. Laura's hands trembled as she held her daughter's photo, searching for a connection. Could someone she trusted have betrayed her? She asked. Ethan's gaze darkened. The pieces were close, yet elusive. Outside, rain turned heavier, pounding against windows. The storm mirrored their frustration, each clue slipping further away. Every word, every gesture heightened the tension, as betrayal and secrecy crept into their minds. They tracked a lead to a local cafe, a tip from a nervous informant. Ethan's brow furrowed, scanning patrons. Marcus followed quietly, noting entrances and exits. Laura stayed close, whispering, "Do you think he knows we're coming?" Ethan shook his head, alert. The barista glanced nervously as Ethan questioned nearby tables. Each reaction, each movement was scrutinized. Outside, rain soaked the streets, glistening under neon lights. The cafe smelled of coffee and tension. Secrets seemed to hover in the air, waiting to reveal themselves. Every second felt like a countdown toward revelation. Their pursuit of truth sharpened with each observation. A sudden scream pierced the night. Ethan and Marcus rushed outside, finding a bystander pointing at a dark alley. Laura clutched her coat tightly, heart racing. "It came from there," she said. Ethan led the way, flashlight cutting through shadows. Every step echoed against brick walls. Marcus followed, documenting every detail. The city felt alive with danger, each shadow a potential threat. Their pulse quickened, awareness heightened. The storm outside mirrored the chaos within. Every decision, every movement mattered. They had entered a labyrinth where danger and deception intertwined, and one misstep could cost them dearly. Ethan stared at the evidence board, a realization settling like ice in his chest. "Marcus, this isn't random," he whispered, voice taut. Marcus frowned, scanning the documents. Laura clutched her daughter's photo tightly, her eyes wide. "What do you mean?" she asked. Ethan pointed to overlapping locations, timelines, and visitor logs. "Someone close to her orchestrated this. Someone she trusted," he said, jaw tightening. Marcus' fingers drummed on the desk, tension thick. Outside, dusk cast long shadows across the precinct. Every fact they uncovered twisted the narrative, pulling the world they thought they knew into a darker truth. The air was heavy with suspense. Every heartbeat reminded them the danger had only deepened. A phone rang sharply, breaking the silence. Ethan grabbed it. "We have a lead," a nervous voice said. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Laura's hand trembled on the edge of the desk. Ethan listened intently, eyes narrowing. "Meet me at the old warehouse," the caller said, then hung up abruptly. Ethan exchanged a look with Marcus. "This could change everything," he said quietly. Laura's voice shook. "Is it safe?" Ethan's gaze hardened. "We don't know, but we must follow it." The storm outside mirrored their turmoil. Each step toward this lead felt like walking on a razor's edge. Secrets they never imagined were about to surface. The warehouse loomed in darkness, rain dripping from broken windows. Ethan led the way, flashlight sweeping across crates. Marcus followed, camera ready. Laura lingered near the doorway, eyes wide with fear. "Who could be here?" she whispered. A shadow moved in the corner. Ethan froze, heartbeat quickening. "It's him," Marcus said quietly, voice low. The figure stepped forward. Anthony Rivers, calm, unyielding, smirk flickering across his face. Laura gasped, clutching her chest. Ethan's mind raced. Everything they thought was truth crumbled. Trust, motive, betrayal, all twisted into one shocking revelation. The room felt charged, dangerous, alive. Ethan's hand hovered over his holster. "Anthony, why?" he demanded, voice steady despite the storm in his chest. Anthony smirked, eyes glinting. "You never really knew her," he replied. Laura stepped forward, voice shaking. "She trusted you." "Why?" Anthony's gaze hardened. "Trust is a dangerous illusion," he said calmly. Marcus raised the camera, capturing every micro-expression, every movement. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the tension in stark contrast. Ethan's mind raced, piecing together the decades of deception. Every fact, every lie now made sense in terrifying clarity. The revelation hit like a physical blow. Anthony circled slowly, a predator in the dim light. "You think you can stop me after all these years?" he sneered. Ethan blocked his path, heart hammering. Laura's hand flew to her mouth, tears welling. Marcus documented every motion, aware of the danger. Outside, thunder roared, rain hammering the roof like a drumbeat of doom. Ethan's voice cut through the storm. "Ethan's Dwight." Anthony paused, smirk fading slightly. The air crackled, tension stretching every second. Each character's fear, anger, and determination collided. The truth was out, but now the reckoning had begun. Every decision in the next moments would decide their fates. Ethan stepped forward, blocking Anthony Rivers' path. "It ends tonight," he said, voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. Anthony smirked, eyes cold, circling cautiously. Laura's hand trembled on the edge of a crate. Marcus raised his camera, documenting every move. Rain hammered the warehouse roof, echoing their tension. Each shadow seemed alive, every reflection a possible threat. Ethan's gaze locked with Anthony's, reading every micro-expression. The storm outside mirrored the chaos inside. Every muscle tensed. They were trapped in a dangerous chess game, the next move critical. Fear, anger, and determination collided in a charged silence. Anthony lunged suddenly, and Ethan reacted instantly, stepping aside while grabbing his arm. Laura gasped, stumbling back, her voice caught in her throat. Marcus captured the motion, aware of the danger. "Stop!" Ethan shouted. Thunder rumbled as lightning flashed through broken windows. Every heartbeat seemed amplified. Ethan's focus sharpened, reading Anthony's movements with precision. Laura's fear mixed with determination. She wouldn't turn away. Marcus documented, recording the high-stakes confrontation. Every step, every glance, every reaction mattered. The warehouse felt alive with suspense, danger pressing on all sides. Ethan and Anthony circled each other, movements deliberate, testing strength and resolve. Laura pressed against a wall, whispering prayers under her breath. Marcus stepped closer, documenting the tense standoff. "Why destroy everything she loved?" Ethan demanded, voice shaking with controlled fury. Anthony smiled coldly. "She was naive. She deserved nothing," he said. Lightning illuminated every tense line of their faces. The storm outside pounded in sync with their racing hearts. Ethan's mind calculated angles, potential moves. Fear threatened to overwhelm them, yet courage anchored their actions. The confrontation had reached its peak, consequences imminent. Anthony suddenly drew a hidden knife, and Ethan dove to intercept, slamming the weapon aside. Laura screamed, backing further. Marcus stayed low, snapping rapid shots. Rain hammered, echoing each heartbeat. Anthony lunged again, and Ethan blocked, twisting his wrist to disarm him. Every movement was precise, adrenaline fueling every action. Laura covered her face, eyes peeking through trembling fingers. The warehouse felt like a pressure cooker, tension compressing all around. Ethan's determination radiated. Failure was not an option. Each second stretched unbearably as danger and resolve collided. Finally, Anthony faltered, caught off guard by Ethan's relentless stance. Police sirens wailed outside, echoing through the warehouse. Marcus captured the moment Anthony froze, realization dawning in his eyes. Laura breathed shakily, relief mixing with lingering fear. Ethan handcuffed Anthony, his hands steady despite exhaustion. The storm outside began to ease, rain softening to a drizzle. Every detail of the confrontation lingered in their minds. Justice had arrived, but not without cost. Their emotions, a tangled mix of relief, exhaustion, and lingering dread, settled over them. The climax of danger had passed, yet the aftermath would resonate forever. The warehouse was quiet now, only the dripping rain marking time. Ethan removed his flashlight, taking a deep breath. Marcus lowered his camera, exhausted but vigilant. Laura leaned against a crate, her hands clasped, relief mixed with lingering fear. "Is it finally over?" she whispered. Ethan's jaw tightened. "For now," he said, voice low but firm. Every detail of the confrontation replayed in their minds, the danger, the choices, the near misses. Outside, storm clouds began to part, light spilling in through broken windows. The air felt heavy with release and reflection. Each of them absorbed the weight of what had transpired, hearts still racing, but hope finally creeping back. Police arrived to secure Anthony Rivers. Ethan watched silently as handcuffs clicked into place. Marcus documented the final moments, careful not to miss any detail. Laura wiped tears from her face, voice trembling. "Justice," at last she murmured. Ethan nodded, exhaustion etched into every line of his face. Outside, rain softened, dripping gently onto the asphalt. The city seemed calmer, the storm a mirror of the chaos that had just passed. Every participant felt the tension easing. Small victories were carved in moments like this, fleeting but profound. Even amid sorrow, there was closure forming, fragile yet real. Back at the precinct, Ethan reviewed files one last time. Marcus leaned on the desk, rubbing his tired eyes. Laura watched quietly, a mix of relief and lingering grief on her face. "It's still hard to believe," she said softly. Ethan nodded, thinking of the months of investigation, the danger, the lost time. "It doesn't erase what happened," he replied, "but it ensures accountability." Marcus glanced at the clock, noting the long night behind them. Every action, every decision had led to this moment. Outside, sunlight began breaking through clouds, casting warm reflections on the floor. A fragile sense of calm filled the room, tempered by the memory of what they endured. Laura clutched her daughter's photo one last time, breathing deeply. "Thank you," she whispered to Ethan and Marcus. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's what we're here for," he said. Marcus nodded in agreement. The weight of the case still lingered, but the immediacy of danger had passed. They had faced the storm and survived. Outside, the city slowly awakened, distant sirens fading. Each of them felt a mix of exhaustion, relief, and a cautious hope. The case was not just solved, the truth had been revealed. The emotional wounds remained, but they were softened by justice finally served. Ethan closed the last file, letting out a long breath. Marcus stretched, loosening tension in his shoulders. Laura finally smiled faintly, eyes brightening with cautious hope. "It's not perfect," Ethan said quietly, "but it's something. Justice matters." Outside, the sun fully broke through clouds, glinting off buildings and streets. Rain puddles reflected the warm light, symbolizing a fresh start. Each of them absorbed the moment, aware that the journey had been grueling but necessary. The past could not be erased, yet the future held a fragile promise. Their mission was complete, for now, and the emotional storm inside them slowly began to calm. Ethan walked through the empty warehouse one last time, eyes lingering on shadows and scattered debris. Marcus followed, camera lowered but still alert. Laura stood at the doorway, clutching her daughter's photo tightly. "It feels unreal," she whispered. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of months of investigation pressing on his shoulders. Outside, sunlight broke through storm clouds, dust particles shimmering in golden rays. Each step echoed softly against concrete, a reminder of battles fought and survived. Silence filled the space, punctuated by distant sirens and dripping water. They moved slowly, savoring the calm after chaos. Reflection mingled with exhaustion, and a fragile sense of closure settled over them. Outside, Anthony Rivers was loaded into the police van, handcuffed, expression a mix of frustration and disbelief. Laura watched from the curb, breath catching, relief washing over her. Ethan and Marcus stood beside her silently. "Justice may finally reach her," Ethan murmured. Marcus adjusted his camera, capturing the last moments of a long ordeal. Rain puddles reflected morning sunlight, shimmering like tiny fragments of memory. Cars passed slowly, oblivious to the drama that had unfolded. Every detail, every expression, every tear felt monumental. Laura exhaled, a tremor in her shoulders, allowing herself a tentative smile. The storm of months seemed to recede, leaving quiet resolve in its wake. Laura finally clutched Ethan's hand, her voice quiet but firm. "Thank you for never giving up." Ethan's eyes softened. "We promised we'd see this through." "We did." Marcus nodded, glancing at the van now driving away. The city around them stirred awake, oblivious to the drama that had concluded. Every step they took felt heavier yet purposeful. Sunlight broke across their faces, glinting in Laura's tear-filled eyes. Months of fear, frustration, and grief now collided with relief. Every action, every decision led to this fragile but meaningful closure. The past would always linger, but the present offered hope, and justice finally delivered. Ethan, Marcus, and Laura walked away slowly, the noise of the city blending with distant traffic. Laura paused, glancing at the empty street where shadows of danger had lingered. "It's over," she whispered. Ethan's jaw tightened, his eyes scanning the horizon. Marcus looked at both of them, silent but reflective. Each of them carried invisible scars, but also a sense of accomplishment. The warmth of the morning light contrasted with the memories of dark nights spent chasing leads. Silence wrapped around them as they reached the end of the street, a small smile breaking on Laura's face. Finally, the storm had ended. The camera lingered on Laura's face, a mix of sorrow and cautious hope. Ethan and Marcus faded slightly into the background, guardians of justice and memory. Sirens echoed faintly, fading into the distance. A breeze stirred, carrying the smell of rain-soaked pavement. Laura whispered a quiet goodbye to the past, holding her daughter's photo close. Ethan's eyes scanned the city, vigilant even in peace. Marcus adjusted his camera one last time, capturing the final frame of a case that spanned decades. The sun fully broke free from clouds, illuminating a world that would continue, scarred yet resilient.